waiting? I don't know, are we live? I have to wait to see if we are live. Are we live? Something is happening. Nope, it's an error that occurred. No, I can see myself. I'm a bit high. Oh, I can hear myself. That means we are on. Just have to adjust the camera angle. Is it better now? Something is happening. Mute myself, don't want to hear myself. Okay, I'm just gonna assume that the camera is freaking awesome because it is Friday and that means it's time for the weekly evaluation. The theme of the week has been the practice of self-acceptance. Yeah, that is true, and that is what this video is going to be about. I'm going to share some insights, some reflections that I have been through as a result of this week's focus. Also, in the end of this video, or well, not in the end of this first evaluation session, which is going to last for approximately 15 minutes, may drag out longer, maybe shorter, we'll see. But in the end of that, I will move on to part 2, which is a weekly individual evaluation, where we'll look through our week, what has happened, how can we move on and progress faster in life, how are we actually working to get towards our goals. Super important thing to just ground yourself once a week, and I do this weekly live evaluation because it's really good for me, and if you want to join in that, it's a very boring video, it's just silence, but it may act as a reminder, at least that's the idea. And yeah, we'll get more into the details later on when we are in part 2. And also I want to address the format of this thing I'm doing here, the live streams, the Friday evaluation. Because actually last stream I got a comment by this nice guy, Armando I think his name is. And he questioned why I have so high quality edited videos in the week, and then this really kind of sucks to some part. Maybe a bit unstructured and maybe very long and a bit on the fly. And that is actually true. That is the format, and that is how I do it for different reasons. One, it's very egoistic. I want to develop my skill to just have the ability to improvise. Have a live session, talking from what just pops out of my head, but also have some kind of overlaying structure to follow that. It's something that I'm not perfect in yet, obviously, since I'm getting comments on the lacking quality. But if I'm not doing this, I'm not going to be able to improve, and it is something that I want in my video, in my YouTube channel. I want to be able to have a good live stream, and that requires practice, and I need the authenticity, you know what I mean, to actually practice that. And also it's a practical time matter to actually edit and do this in a very thorough way. It will take even more time, and time is of the essence in my life, since I have so much content I want to produce, and also I'm working full-time here, so it has those two benefits, that I want to practice to be able to speak live to you guys, and also it makes it time efficient, and also it's an ability for me to connect with you guys in a live format. Now it may not be so many viewers watching me, joining me yet, maybe never, but it adds a bit of tension, and it's just something I think it's something I want to keep doing right now, but I'm always willing to re-evaluate my doings, because that is actually related to the topic of the week, self-acceptance. Taking in feedback like this, maybe if it is totally shitty, I have to re-evaluate what I'm doing. Maybe I can just cut out the live stream, the second part, just do the evaluation, or maybe I should start doing those things again. But for now, that is the way it is. But always having that sense of looking what I'm doing, of what you're doing, and then reevaluating. That is the theme, and the week has been like that. We have just tried to focus in on being self-acceptance. We had 3 objectives throughout the week, and the main thing, the thing I wanted you to prioritize was to, at least 5 times a day, just pause your life and take in your emotions. What am I feeling? What are my thoughts? And then accepting that. If you're feeling very anxious, maybe there's something going on at work, maybe there's a lot of stress, pressure, then you, in this moment, pause and you say to yourself, you breathe out, and yeah, I'm feeling very stressed. It makes me feel really bad. And then after accepting that, you can actually go to the why, seek the answer for why this is the case. Yeah, I'm having a ton to do at work here, and that is making me feel like shit. And maybe it's the bad kind of stress because I'm having the wrong mindset. Like, I've actually had a lot to do throughout this week, and a few times I just had to pause and do this, and then I could reason with myself. I always journal, I write about it, and I said, well, why am I stressed here, Alex? Well, you feel that you have a ton of work to do. You feel that you have the pressure on your shoulders to just prove yourself worthy of this job and just, boom, deliver. But then again, I ask myself, well, does this high level of stress actually benefit you? Does it make me perform on the high level I want to? And in some cases here, it hasn't, because it has gone too far. It has just made me like all over the place. And so I say to myself, well, if I want to actually perform on a high level, I need to calm myself down. I have to realize that I am doing this for my sake. I'm not here at this work for anybody else. I'm here to develop myself. I'm here to grow myself and enjoy the process. I'm not doing anything in life if I don't have something in it for myself. And that may just be a small piece of personal development, but I always seek to define that gain for myself in doing this little thing. If I'm doing a very boring work task, it's maybe about proving myself to have the determination, because I see the overall goal here. And that means if I want to benefit myself the best way, I can't let external factors like what my boss is going to think about me affect my ability to perform. I have to realize that, yeah, if I'm doing this for myself, I have to make sure that I work from the best place of myself. I hope I'm making myself clear. But just have that internal drive, the understanding for why you're doing things, and then changing that behavior. This is actually a greater topic, to not be driven by external sources, and this is actually the very essence and core of self-esteem. It is to always look from within. External opinions about you should never affect you. Maybe if you're walking around and smelling like shit all day, and the opinions of other people really are expressed, well, of course that is something that is an issue. But then again, from the start, maybe this is an internal issue. Maybe there's something behind why you are not taking care of your body. This is something that is making you feeling not living an ideal life. So from the beginning, that is something that needs to be addressed from within. Then maybe the external world may act as reminders for why you are actually doing something wrong that doesn't benefit yourself. So there's always an angle in your life which is from within, and that is the perspective you need to take. Never let the external world be the determined factor for how to live your life. Never, never. At least not if you want to live a life with a high level of self-esteem. And when you realize that, when you start to live like that, then the sense of clarity and meaning with life really comes. And I'm not saying once you get this woohoo clarity that, yeah, this is the way you should live, it's not always going to be like that. To once again address this week and the focus of being self-acceptant, I had a big company party when this theme or issue was really addressed. I have not been taking care of myself lately. I have not been sleeping. I've just been over pushing myself beyond my limit, working too much, sleeping too little, and that breaks me down. It makes me move away from my routines, the framework I've built up for myself to support myself. And as I've done this internal work, I realize that when I don't take care of these fundamental pillars that supports me, I'm not able to be the person I want to be. So during this big summer company party we had during the Tuesday, I was really in the mood for it, but I had slept like 4 or 5 hours, and once we got started, I just wasn't able to hold myself up to that standard I have now learned to live with, or be where I want to live my life. The way I interact with people in a joyful, happy way, speaking with clarity, assertiveness, and just having fun in the social interactions. But since I was so broken down, I was a bit sleep deprived, I wasn't able to protect myself from these stories that keep bombarding a weak person, me, this Tuesday, because I was a weak person. And I was so over-judging. Every conversation I had throughout that evening was like, oh, what did I say? Oh, I can't say that. And it just got worse and worse. I spoke with lower voice. I tuned out my sentences in the end of it. And it just was a negative spiral. And it made me feel worse. It made me act worse and worse. And in the end of it, I just felt like shit. There was really nothing left to just shake myself up, oh, come on, Alex, what are you doing here? I had just broken myself down. That was as a result of not taking care of myself. And I didn't, during this day, I didn't realize what was going on. I just went to the bad place, and I stayed in the bad place. And the day after, once Wednesday, I woke up and I felt like shit. I really felt like shit. I experienced what I call social hangover. That is something I feel after a big social event, where I just constantly go over what happened, and I feel ashamed. I feel the word I'm looking for is disappointed. I feel so disappointed because where I am right now, where I am in my usual state, I have a high level of how I perform, what I want to, the kind of person I want to put out to the external world. I'm quite satisfied with this good version of Alex, but when I'm in the bad place, it's not a person I want to be near. So the day after an event like this, where it all went to shit, the social hangover is just all over the place. It's just such a disappointment of, man, haven't I reached a level where I can do better than that? The people who talk to you, they're all gonna think you're just a goddamn loser. You can't speak with clarity. You're just breathing uncertainty, that the body language, everything just disappears. But by taking in this self-accepting focus, I journaled and I wrote, and I first accepted that, yeah, I really feel like this. I feel disappointed. I feel like I should have acted better. I could have just been a way better person. I started with accepting those feelings, and then I moved on through journaling, to writing, through reflecting. I moved on to trying to seek the answer for why this happened. What is the root cause here, Alex? Why do you feel this way? Why did this happen yesterday? And then I looked objectively of how I felt, what had happened. I saw that, yeah, I had only slept a couple of hours. I know that affects me tremendously. I hadn't been able to do a proper weekly evaluation. I hadn't been able to clear my mind. There was a lot of things going on. With stress level high at work. Got a lot of things to get done before the semester is coming up. The videos from last week, I still haven't put them all out. It's just I feel stressed to get my videos out. I feel that I don't have the ability to answer all the comments. So it was so many factors all working together in the perfect storm, making me not able to be in the place I want to be. So that was the why. My first state of accepting the reality, then looking at what happened, why that happened. Now I have the explanation that the anxiety starts to disappear, because you have to realize that there's a big difference between shame and guilt. Guilt is something that is a behavior. That means you can do something about it. That means you can change, adapt, and improve to become a better version of yourself. Shame, on the other hand, that's just a state of being a bad person. That's like, this is who I am. I can't change. I'm just worthless. Who could you be? You just feel like shit, and there's nothing you can do about it, because that's just the definition of you, and that's totally the wrong way of looking at it. You should always look at yourself and what you're doing, your actions, as guilt. If you're not proud of something, it's guilt. It's a behavior. It is something you can change. You are not a static thing. You are dynamic. You have the ability and power to change in the direction you want to. So by taking on that perspective, when reflecting concerning what happened, I reached the point that, yeah, I have to accept that I am not a human. I'm not a super person. I'm not Superman. I have to make sure to plan and take care of myself in order to be the kind of person I want to be. If I'm not getting my sleep, if I'm not getting my exercise, if I'm not keeping my stress levels down, if I'm not doing my journaling and reflection and always get to clarity every day, I am breaking myself down, and I can't live the life I want to be at the level I want to, and that makes me feel bad. That makes my self-esteem decrease. So from that state, I can actually take appropriate action. I can say that, yeah, this is me right now, but I want to be here, and that means I have to take care of myself. And that insight is only gained through accepting your reality. Well, actually, first you have to practice consciousness and awareness, and feel that you're feeling things, then you have to accept that. Then you look to the why, and then you can start the change process. And that is actually partially also why I've been lagging a little bit behind on the videos. Previously, I was editing to 3-4 at night, got maybe 3-4 hours of sleep. But the result of that was that I wasn't a human being. I didn't feel alive. I felt like shit. So I have started to prioritize to get at least 6 hours of sleep. It's a must. Maybe not all days, but overall it's a freaking must. And that has come to me through the practice of self-acceptance. The thing is, when you have this focus of just thinking of one of the 6 pillars of how to build self-esteem, this time the self-acceptance, it opens you up to just reevaluate yourself in different contexts. How am I doing in this area? How am I doing in this area? When you start to think about, yeah, maybe I'm not accepting the reality in the health and training area. Maybe I'm not accepting the reality I'm living in my relationship area. And that's why it's so beneficial to just have 1 week when you look at one thing. Now I'm relating to these 6 pillars for how to build self-esteem. Because that kind of changes your mindset. It forces you to reevaluate your static view of yourself. Because many times, at least for me, when I grow older, as I grow older, I get a more, boom, this is me. I'm shaped this way, this is how it works. And I've talked about how this is good. You should define yourself to some senses. You should have the self-awareness of knowing who you are. Are you more introverted? Maybe you need to adjust the way you are social with friends and just living a way that benefits you the most. But it also means that you have to be willing to constantly reevaluate yourself. Maybe specifically the older beliefs that has been with you for 10 years or so, maybe those things that you don't even consider to be wrongly assumed, those things need to be reevaluated. Needs to perhaps accept that I thought I was this person, but maybe that's not me anymore, or maybe that never was me. So by having this week focus, at least for me this week, it makes you look at yourself critically. It makes you open up that fixed image of who you are. Another example is like the training area for me. I've been doing like more or less like the same training routine for 10-15 years, and it's really not benefiting me. I'm not getting any stronger. I'm constantly getting myself injured. And so I have to accept that you can't just continue doing what you're doing just because you're convenient with that, because you have found your routine and it makes it easy. If it's not working, then heck, Alex, you need to do something about it. But it's hard, especially when it's something you've done for a long time and it's just part of you. It's hard, but that's the benefit of intensively working on improving your self-esteem, especially with this book, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, which has helped me tremendously. The growth journey, it's boom, freaking amazing, and I love it. I don't love it every day. It makes me, well, it's hard. Personal development, this growth journey is not easy, but it's worth it. It makes you come out as a stronger person. It makes you get to know yourself better. Sure, you're missing out of a lot of short-term enjoyment, and you're not able to cover up things that is emotionally tough because you learn to address them. You learn to move on the things that is hard to think about, is hard to deal with, but that is what will make you stronger. That is what will grow you as a person. So I think that little reflection insight will be enough for this week's evaluation. I've sure had tons of different thoughts and ideas this week, but that will do it for now. Maybe I just blundered on too much. Maybe I got too personal. Love to hear your reflection on my reflection here. Did it make sense? Was I all over the place? I also have to realize that I need to start re-watching these live streams. That is a part of accepting what I'm putting out there. This is scary shit, especially my live stream. I think I've never watched the entire episode because it's just scary. But maybe I'm constantly doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not good. But then, since I don't dare to accept the reality, I don't dare to look at the facts, the video that is out there, then I'm in denial. I'm not willing to take in the reality. So I need to I promise you, I'm gonna watch this video just as an action in this last action in this week of focusing in on self-acceptance. And with those words, I'm finishing this little evaluation. It's out. It's finito. It is over. But that means we're moving on to the weekly individual live evaluation. It is going to be a bit shorter today, not a 4-hour stream like 2 weeks ago. I'm hoping to get it over with in half an hour to an hour because I have tons of video editing to get to. Next video will actually come out in a couple of hours, hopefully. Just have some last editing to do. But so the weekly evaluation, the individual one, it is about looking at the actions you have done throughout the week. Hopefully you have some goals defined, where you want to move in life. And that means that you constantly need to evaluate how are you doing to move yourself towards those. What actions are you actively taking? How are you working to develop your social skills, if that's a thing? For me, for instance, I have a goal of being able to talk with anyone, anywhere, and enjoying that. And I'm every day progressing when I'm taking care of myself. Like the social gathering, the summer party, I didn't do that in a good way that time. But that was because I didn't condition myself properly before. Now I've learned that, yeah, if I want to be able to do that, I need to condition myself, I need to take care of myself. And that is part of this week's individual evaluation. I can see that I've reflected about it, so I write some concluding thoughts about that. And I see how that will affect my coming week. An evaluation means looking at what you've done, evaluating it, and then after some reflection, making sure that you are improving to the next week. That's how the continuous improvement loop works. Tweaking. You can't do the same thing over and over again. And that's easier said than done because I'm constantly falling into that trap. It's convenient. We don't need to think. But if we want to change, if the change is going to happen, we need to first realize what is wrong, and then we can start to work out a plan and implement it a little bit at the time. Habits is the best way to do it. Small things is much better than the big things. So let's get into it. If there are any questions, just write them in the comment fields and I'll address them. They can actually be concerning anything. I'm in the talky mood, so just write them there and we'll get to it. Now let's Evaluate your week. This is for your sake. It is your individual evaluation, as it is mine. But it also means silence, focus, boom. The obligatory teacup is always with me throughout a weekly evaluation. Find your things to make it special. Make a routine out of this weekly evaluation. Specific place, time, music, a specific reward perhaps. I'm going all in on the favorite foods and some nice series perhaps as a reward of the weekly evaluation. You make it your thing. And with that being said, I'm unhooking myself from the mic so we can focus. Hey Stefan, nice to have you here. Sweden always welcomes you. Although the weather is not too great today, it's like storm coming any second. It's gonna rain like crazy. Finland is just across the ocean from Sweden. It's you can go by ferry there in 4 hours, perhaps, maybe more. It's summer weather there now as well, so it's not too cold. Yeah, I promise to be careful. I'm gonna stay inside today. Hopefully. How's the weather in France? Where in France are you from? Well, that sucks that you lost contact with her. Maybe you can still try to regain that contact. I don't know. And yeah, from a summer weather perspective, the weather is quite cold. But it's far from winter cold, so I'm not complaining too much. And don't worry about forgetting words. My English is far from perfect either. I have some work to do in my English, believe me. But as long as we're willing to progress, then there's hope. Yeah, my laptop, it's the MSI G70. It was top of the line when I bought it 3 years ago. I had some plans to start gaming again, but it never happened. But I do need it for my video rendering, and well, it has served me well. Believe me, best bought I ever did. Freaking great computer. And for you people who are watching this offline, I'm chatting here with this guy Stefan from France, and he asked me about my computer. Sorry, forgot about that. I actually don't know which one the atmosphere is. I have to Google that. Stefan is talking about a computer now. What time is it? It's almost 3 o'clock here in Sweden. It should be the same in France, right? I actually visited what's the wine district? I have my friend Simon Graal lives in France. Bordeaux. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I visited there last August. It was awesome. Hey Armando. Hi. I don't know what you mean with high noon. Like early afternoon? Macri approves. Oh, or you mean the music perhaps? I don't know. You have to explain yourself. Cool. I've been around in Bordeaux lived there. I visited my friend for like 4 or 5 days. Really nice town. And no, Armando, I don't play Overwatch. I know what game it is though. I just don't have time to play games anymore, or I prioritize it to other stuff. But I do miss it. Cool. Yeah, and my little brother, whom I'm living with, his gaming rig is just over there, and he plays like 5 hours a day, so it's constantly around me, I keep seeing it, but just have to stay away from it. Yeah, I do miss it. I know. Balance. It's not easy though. And right now, like all my free time, it all goes to the video editing, and I do get a lot of joy out of that. So it's just the choice I've made. Hey man, yeah, that's a toughie. How do you know that she made out with some other guys? I mean, I guess you're not exclusive in any way, but still, I'm just not in that state yet where I can relate to that. But see what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know. Depends on how you're feeling about it. If you're like serious about it, then maybe you should have a talk with her. Otherwise, if it's just sexual, then hey, get out of it what you can get out of it. Sometimes we just blow up things and make too big out of a deal from it when we're not really when we haven't reached the state of making that kind of a decision yet. So maybe you have to, what do you say, breathe it out a bit first. Oh, straight after? Well, I mean, obviously she's not that serious into what you're having yet. I mean, if she made out with the other guy just after making out with you, kind of tells history, tells what kind of girl it is. But then again, you shouldn't judge people out of a few actions. Maybe she was really drunk and had a bad night. Maybe it was just some crazy shit went down that night. Maybe that's not the kind of girl she is on a constant basis. So as I say, it depends on what you want to get out of this girl. If it's just sexual, maybe you just want to have some fun, hey, then go for it. If you're really serious, I guess I should talk to her and see what actually level with her. Be honest, frank. That's how I should deal with it. But then again, I'm no master. I haven't been, what do you say, my relationship part, that I'm working on that because I'm not really any expert yet. But that's how I should address this. If you're serious, talk to her, be a bit frank with her, not being needy in any way though. And if you're just in it for the fun of it, go for it. Don't make too big a deal out of it. That's my take, Armando. That's my take. And if you want some real good advice, I really recommend you to read Models. They address all these kinds of topics and how you should think, and just give you a clearer strategy, and nice to lean back to. And if you're not the guy that likes to read, there is an audiobook of this. It's not professionally recorded, but I managed to find a reading of this book. If you're interested, I can mail it to you. Oh, love to hear that I inspired you to meet this girl. Cool, man. Then you progressed further than I have, because I have not been able to hook up with a girl on that state yet. It's coming though. I used to do that a lot when I drank more and was out partying more. But since I'm not that club guy anymore and I don't drink as much, that part fell out kind of naturally. And yeah, I'm just not that eager to get into the clubbing again. I'm past that part of my life, and that's why I want to develop the skills to actually go and do these things throughout the day, meeting girls in a sober environment. Requires more skills, perhaps, but I like that challenge. It's more fun. It's not only two drunk people meeting that. It doesn't have to be that way, but I'm more of a during the daytime guy now than late night. Or excuses. Maybe I should try clubbing again. I don't know. And you should reread it. I've listened to the audiobook like 3 times, so it's worth revisiting. Do it. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm sure have enjoyed sometimes clubbing a whole lot during my younger days, but yeah, just I don't get as much out of it anymore. No problem, anytime. And well, maybe not always the quality of the advice is what makes a difference, but just to have a discussion makes you think about things from new perspectives can be good. At least that's my own experience from equal discussions with friends. And thanks a lot for saying that. Really means a lot. Yeah, it really does. Yeah, as I've said, it's not always easy to get motivated to keep pushing the hours of the day to have the time to do all this, but it's a journey I want to make, and if I can help if I can inspire other, motivates me even more. So really, thanks a lot. Yeah. I guess I'm not in a state to give many manipulative advices. I'm just acting from where I am, what I know right now, and I'm in the growth journey as well. I'm just reflecting on what is going on. It's just face value of, of what is, and hopefully I will get more and more a deeper understanding of what I'm doing, so I can be able to share it on an even deeper level. That's the idea. And if we can make this journey together even better. Exactly. That's the key word. We try and we don't give up. And we make sure to somehow enjoy the process. At least I do. That's like my life motto. Do the hard things, but freaking enjoy it. Because if it's boring, it's not gonna be sustainable. Yeah. Good talk. Thanks, man. Really, thanks. I don't know, maybe you were searching around on the other shitty pickup channels and somehow a related video got popped up, and that was me. guess that would be a good thing for me if people can go from these shitty channels to my way of doing it. Who knows? I think that's the hardest thing, to reach out and actually make people realize you exist when you have such a small channel. Yeah, that happened to me too. And as I spoke about in the beginning of this video, we all have our moments where we just aren't able to shine through. But then it's so important to actually step in and be the good friend to yourself. Say that, yeah, it is alright. Sometimes it's just not within us to do things. But as long as we don't give up, as long as we push ourselves to go through the fear the next time, to not let that single moment break us down, and then we get caught in that negative spiral downwards. That's when we develop strong self-esteem, we're able to recuperate, to bring us back to the good state in a much quicker way. So realizing that we all have our weak spots, and actually look into what made us get into that weak spot. To me, it's like if I sleep bad, if I eat bad, those are the factors that will more likely make me bail on myself, to not fear because I have low energy. I just feel bad for some sense. But building yourself up and getting back to the good state again, finding the good things for me, like looking at motivational videos, doing my training exercise, cold showers and stuff like that, finding the routines that brings me up, that is what makes me live the good life in a more consistent level. We will always have our dips, but look at your context, what happened, evaluate, and then try to improve, iterate on yourself. Oh, it's not easy talking to yourself in a good way. Seriously not. And for me, I find to write, to do the journaling, and I actually write like I would speak to myself, it's much easier. Because when I talk to myself, at least in the beginning, when I start to do it, it seems like fake and I just don't believe it. But when I write it out, it works better. So that's why I always journal throughout the day. It helps me in a tremendous way. Don't know how I would live without the journaling reflection. And when I say journal, it could just be a quick note writing, just explaining what was happening in words. It helps a lot for me. Try it out. And if you want to get deeper into this topic, I recommend Brené Brown, the shame vulnerability researcher. She has some TED Talk you can listen to on YouTube to just get you introduced to what she's all about. Her mindset and ways of talking about that, she also addressed that, how to be a good friend to yourself. That really changed some fundamental things within me. And yeah, I started with the TED Talks and then I listened to her audiobooks. Really good. Both of them. There are actually 3, but the 2 latest ones are the ones I've listened to. Yeah, amazing books, if you ask me. The TED Talk just touches the surface. It's uncomparable to actually going into the core message that are delivered in the book. Although I do like the TED Talks as well. And even if they weren't like mind-blowing, it's when you understand what she is actually saying, when you understand the message and start to apply that, that's when that's where the real power lies in what she talks about. Maybe she's not able to transmit that to all people, but if you get it and if you learn to apply vulnerability, which is also addressed a whole lot in the book Models, but then some true change happens within you, to be able to just share yourself, your true self. That's part of how I can do this vlogging the way I'm doing it, to just share myself in a uncensored way. It also changed my whole relationship to my family. I dare to say things, I'm open about my emotions and stuff like that. And when I'm with new people, and how I compliment people in a genuine way, in a way that other people don't do that, it all comes from this being able to show vulnerability. And it all started with Brene Brown's work, actually. Thanks, man. Me too. Happy to see your growth as well. At least what I'm hearing. I mean, getting out on the club and hooking up with a girl like that, if you haven't done it in a while, good on you. Start taking action consistently. How do you mean? Like with girls or in different kinds of areas? Anyways, for me it's about having short... No, okay. So do you mean just do it when you're about to approach a girl, or like, I want to develop in this area? In either cases, I'd say the clear goals and clear goals attached to deadlines. Like my challenges, that means I have a deadline. Friday I need to have done these 10 approaches, for instance. On Friday I need to have done these reflections. Okay, for example, starting a conversation is way harder than keeping it. Yeah, that is so true. But so for me, either if I have the goal to get a phone number, I try to continue until I actually get that phone number. But that also helps. But that's because I've defined such a clear goal to attain that. Last week I need to get a phone number to move on to the next objective. It all comes back to the true motivation, asking myself for why I'm actually doing it. If I need to approach a girl, then I need to get past that anxiety. But the thing is, what it lies on the other side, when I see that, when I see the benefit and why I'm actually doing it, the actual thing stopping me, that anxiety is not what's relevant anymore. That's just the piece I have to get through to get to the end goal, which is so much more important to me. And it also helps a lot to have this like social commitment. When I put out there I'm gonna do this, that means I'm actually responsible. I have to respond to people. I have to say, to tell people I didn't do it, and that investment also makes it much harder to not do it. So for you, maybe if you commit to me, like in a comment when I do a challenge, it could be any comment. Just if you commit to me and you say this week's goals for me is to do 5 approaches, then you have outed that. Or if you tell a friend or just anybody, then it means you're responsible for actually going after it and doing it that extra motivation helps a lot. That is partially how this YouTube channel works for me. I put out a goal, that means I need to make sure to follow through, and that's a tip that really works. Yeah, again, the starting process is the hardest one. And that comes down to procrastinating and doing other stuff. But if you look to the core reasons for why you're actually doing this, and that requires a high level of awareness, consciousness, and that again relates to the self-esteem. And that is something I've come to realize, that the growth, the focused growth on developing my self-esteem, to increase my self-esteem, which has meant I have focused in on these different 6 pillars that self-esteem entails in the book, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem. When I worked on these things, for instance, the first pillar is be aware, present, work on being truly conscious. That means you can't escape that starting point. If you have to start to write, because that is part of your work, if you have a high level of awareness and consciousness, that means you're staying in that moment. You're not doing other stuff. You're not starting to watch series. You're not going to eat, because you have developed a higher level of consciousness. That means you can't escape your reality. And if you reach that high state of consciousness and you're not able to escape what you really need to do, then there's nothing there from hindering you to actually start to do it. The everything within you is just screaming, you have to do it. This is what will take you to the next level. This is what you need to do. But if you have a low state of consciousness, you just add on external things, which makes you avoid the reality, what you actually need to face. And working on developing this awareness and consciousness, it is hard to understand that will affect you that much, but my work on that is probably the thing that has helped me out the most with my personal development. You're not able to avoid what you need to do. You're just too aware. That's uncomfortable and it's hard, but it will absolutely make you develop faster, quicker, and more efficiently. Good. And yeah, maybe I'm not that clear in my message here, but the answers are within me. I just maybe haven't expressed them fully. So this is good practice as well. And to address the question you asked last week for why I'm doing this live stream format and such, it is a part of developing these skills within me to be able to connect with people like you and have this dialogue, and to get my thoughts out there in a good way. I know I keep repeating myself when I try to explain things, and that's something I need to work on, and I do that by doing these kinds of things. Exactly. Why? Your why is what will drive you, nothing else. But why, along with a good strategy, then there's real power in the change you seek. And that's why this weekly evaluation comes into play and be and are such an important piece of the life puzzle, to strategize, plan out, iterate and improve yourself. How can I move towards where I want to go in a effective way as possible? That may entail looking at other successful people or whatever, but doing that research to find the best way. It's not easy. I'm just saying that on a general level. Yeah, it is. Well, I'm actually done with my weekly evaluation now, and that means I have to move on. I need to have some breakfast, actually, doing a bit of fasting here. Anyways, thank you so much for this live stream. It's been great. It's been nice to have some actual talk here. That's really what I want this to be as well. And good luck with the girl, Armando. Keep me posted on how it plays out. Yeah, it was insightful to have this discussion. It was not only me talking, it was a dialogue between you and me. So have a great weekend, and make sure to watch the next video. I'm gonna post it in a couple of hours, hopefully. I'm gonna finish the last editing right now, and then I'll post it. Love to hear your feedback on that as well. Anyways, have a great evening. Bye, guy. Bye, guy. Bye, guys, and bye. I'm Armando, whom I'm talking to right now. Ciao.